This is Counterpoint, and I'm your host, Tanya Allen. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that might sound trivial to some of you, but it reflects a much bigger shift in how our public spaces and even our most basic institutions are being reshaped, and in some cases by ideology. I'm talking about the elimination of men's urinals in the name of so called gender inclusivity. Yes, that's right. In the rush to create gender neutral washrooms, a fixture that has served a practical, hygienic, and efficient purposes for generations is being flushed away. This shift is often presented as a progressive and necessary step towards equality and accommodation. However, it also invites a broader conversation about the implications of redesigning public facilities to align with ideological trends. Are practical considerations, such as efficiency, biological differences, and user comfort, being subordinated to political symbolism? And are we permitted to raise these concerns in public discourse without facing undue criticism? Well, today we welcome one journalist who has dared to ask those questions, Peter Shawn Taylor. In a recent article for the C2C Journal titled Standing Up for Urinals, Can They Survive the Gender Neutral Washroom Craze? He explores what's really motivating this shift in washroom design and whether we're giving up more than we realize in the process. Welcome, Peter. Thank you so much for joining me today for a conversation I never thought I'd ever have in my life, let alone on national television. So welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. I never thought I would become a urinal expert, but here we are.
Here we are. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What are the main reasons facility designers and administrators are saying or using to remove urinals? Like, whether it's a renovation in a school or a new build arena, why are the urinals leaving?
Well, I think we got to go back maybe and sort of unpack the history of this movement. I think if you're looking for the origins, I would go back to the feminist movements in the 1960s that started to complain about the obvious observation that the lineups for women's washrooms are longer than the lineups for men's washrooms. You get no argument from me there. That's clearly a state of the world. Back then, the feminists organizations, the women that sort of took up this cause, argued that women's washrooms should be larger than men's washrooms. There should be, if it takes women longer to go to the bathroom, there should be more what they call water closets in a woman's washroom than a men's washroom.
Like more stalls, more stalls.
More stalls,
yeah.
in more places to go for women than men. And by and large, that battle has been won. Canada's National Building Code requires twice as many water closets for women as for men in given public buildings. In the States, there's not a national building code, so to speak, but a lot of states and cities have ordinances that mandate the same sort of thing. When they built the new Yankee Stadium in New York City, for instance, there had to be a certain number of women's washrooms more than men's washrooms. So that's been going on for decades now. It doesn't seem to have made a huge amount of difference, though, because when you go places, you still see the longer lineups for women's washrooms and men's. But what's new right now is the transgender activists have been declaring that any evidence of biological sex is unfair or is inequitable, and that people should be able to use whatever washroom they want. The solution that's come out of that has been the universal washroom. So that brings us up to today, so to speak. One washroom for everyone simplifies things from a gender perspective, and it also means that there's only one line, so there can't be a longer line for women than men. There's only one line.
And to me, can I just say from the get-go, that sounded like a great solution. I was in favor of this until you as a woman experience it. And then you're like, no, I need my women's only bathrooms, please. Because of course, if one bathroom can accommodate everybody, well, that seems like a no-brainer for the builders. But no, like you just think gas station bathroom, and then you see what I'm talking about.
Yes, and we can get into that. The immediate result of the universal washroom craze, if you will, is that there's no place for the urinal. The urinal is a male-only device. You only find it in men's washrooms. If you decide that you can only have one washroom for all. You're just going to have stalls, and the result is you get rid of the urinal. And we can get into a little later why that's a bad thing, but that sort of brings you up to date. That's how we ended up in a world where urinals seem to be disappearing.
Okay, well, we're going to unpack more of this issue in just a few moments.